Hi, my name is Eddie Vigil. I am 4 months into living in Los Angeles. I moved from Reno, and I am currently in the pursuit of making my first full-length feature film. So this video is mainly to give you an insight into which other creatives out there have inspired me, and I guess more specifically my approach into making my movie. So you will see clips, especially a lot of Mark Duplas, who has recently jumped on my radar as of late, as I have kind of been in the creating of this piece for myself, and have been really impressed with what he's been able to do, and feels very similar to what I'm trying to do. So this is going to be a lengthier video. So to start this off, let's go ahead and hear the basic advice that is given from more established filmmakers to aspiring filmmakers.
I think the most important thing is to just try and shoot as much as you can. You know, I mean, I didn't come from any kind of rich background and stuff, so any of my early efforts are just kind of like me scrounging around whatever equipment I could to kind of try and make a movie.
So make them quickly and make them cheaply with your friends. There's no excuse for not making movies every weekend with your friends for $5, little 5-minute short films until you figure out what you're good at.
The advice that I've often heard, and I wish I could find more clips because I hear it from everybody, is just make it and just create, because the best learning experience is basically on-the-job training and just being in it. And I feel like that is what I've been up to the last 3 years, primarily with Reno Film Collective. Been continuing to do that here in LA as well. And to be fair, it's not like I heard this advice prior to starting. It was more for me to become more familiar with the process and learn by doing, which was how I best learn. And now that I'm jumping into making my first full-length movie, I am happy that I'm doing it in Los Angeles, because there's just so many other creative, smart people around me that have already helped with kind of breaking my story and such. And I do want to highlight some talent around me already, but that's for another time. Basically, I decided late in December, right before New Year's, I forget specifically when, but I had finally decided that I would commit to making this first movie. In 2019 was the goal. I want to get it done this year. But I had no story, so that's where I started. What helped me get started was thinking about who I knew and locations I had access to. And then on top of that,
I think more about whether something's authentic than whether it's new. I don't spend a lot of time thinking, has this idea or thought never been expressed before? A lot of the stuff that I'm interested in is what is new and different and interesting and relevant about how people live their lives today.
So yes, thinking authentic versus has this been done before, kind of helped me with getting my initial draft just on the page and out there. I started with these index cards, was how I outlined my film. So I would write down kind of a base idea for a scene, and then on the back write down kind of what happens in it, or some more details about it, or why it's there. And once I felt like I had enough, and I was like, okay, this is so for me it was really important to just get the idea down and write out that first full draft as quickly as possible, because I was keeping this advice in mind.
And then I kind of go into the other part of my brain and start kind of editing away, clarifying the voices of the characters, and go into that critical mode of all right, how do we make a movie that's very well paced, but a little homogenized? How do we make it interesting?
So that's basically where I am right now, kind of honing in on the characters and the voices and the backgrounds and the theme, and making each moment bigger and all that stuff, which is new to me. I haven't really jumped that deep into the process on any other short film that I've done, so I'm really pushing myself now that this is a bigger deal to to do all of that. So being that that's where I'm at now, and story details will come later, so that gives us an opportunity here to kind of dig more into the process itself. I've decided that no matter what, I am making this movie this year. A big part of why I have that philosophy is thanks to, I guess, these following clips. Strong language warning?
The development process of films is 99% of the time that people spend in this industry. Talking about making them, trying to attach talent so they can get their $5 million of foreign financing to do this thing, and it is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And there are people, and this is a totally valid criticism, who have criticized my approach to making movies and saying like, man, you gave it away. Like, Puffy Chair was such a great script. You could have cast huge movie stars in that movie. You could have made it for $20 million at this place. And my answer is maybe, but why wait on maybe when I have a definite in front of me at all times?
You should not be thinking about anyone, not people like us or anyone, to help you along the way. You should be having something that you might like to make and you might get help with, but always have something actionable that you can make that's the next step up. So I would just say, personally, whatever that short was that you made that clearly clicked with people, take the tone of that, take the seed of that, and try and find a way to make a feature film that is under $1,000 micro budgeted that you can make and own, and get that into the next festival, and then you'll sell that for $10,000, and then you'll take that next $9,000 and go make another movie, and you'll build this thing brick by brick, and you will never have to ask people like us whether we take submissions.
At the end of the day, too, you also have to be willing to accept the fact that, like, if you're making a movie for like $20,000, $10,000, there may be shit in your script or shit in your head that you feel that's the whole movie, dude. Without it, there's no point, that you might have to let go of. You have to be willing to make a concession, man. If somebody's writing you a check, that's a great thing. If it's not big enough check to do what you need to do or what you feel you want to do, then you have to come to a decision whether you're like, okay, I appreciate the offer of this money, but can you hold on to it until I have something that I can tailor into this budget? Or you look at your project and go like, how can I make it fit into these confines?
You have to be willing to take those risks. So that's the thought I would leave you with, is that in whatever you're doing, failure is an option, but fear is not.
So for me, it's about getting it done and getting it out there, understanding that it's not make or break, that there's no reason to put all the pressure on this one project. This is a part of the process in even the bigger scope of like me learning how to be a writer-director. This first film for me is about just being able to say that I've done it and that I can do it, and that hopefully, you know, it comes out good. But regardless, so again, it comes with like understanding that there will be limitations. I don't know at this point, let's say, what kind of funding I'll have available to make this thing. So I'm embracing for kind of what I've come to really learn from is almost a zero budget mentality, where it's mentioned in the video, like, you know, 20 grand, 10 grand. Mark likes to say under 1,000 for a feature. Well, I've definitely learned to love the constraints, and I found that it's not a common feeling from what I've encountered myself. And that almost makes me, no, it does make me actually like that philosophy even more, being that it seems like not that many people are willing to even give it a shot. So when I tell people what I'm embarking on and that I'm looking to make a rom-com here, a lot of what I hear is like, oh, okay, so you're gonna need a name. Those don't work without names. And I'm like, okay. Or, all right, so I would aim for like, you know, this amount of money. Like, you can't make it, like, you're gonna need this amount of money to make that movie. And it's very interesting that people would jump to, like, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need that to make it. But it's quite interesting. So right now, on top of everything else, I have been doing my best to try to talk to anybody and everybody I can who has the experience of making their own movies or directing movies, or just that have the experience in what I'm trying to do. And a large part of that is because...
And then be around people who are better than you, who've honed the craft longer than you, who've honed the technique longer than you, so they can challenge you. And that way you're not relying on things like the internet or Instagram comments to tell you what you can do better, that you pick people you respect who understand what you want to do, who can give you useful feedback.
I want a strong team. That's the biggest reason why I moved to Los Angeles, was because I wanted to be surrounded by people who had more experience, who had more insight, who've been practicing the craft longer than me, that could challenge me and my ideas to push me further. At the same time, I have to keep reminding myself that
no matter how many crew members or actors or performers or lights or whatever are on set, it's still make-believe. You know, you're still basically working with a group of people, and you're pointing a camera at something and you're filming it and you're telling a story. And I think that's what helps me kind of zen out a little bit, that it actually is that simple.
So let's not overcomplicate it. It's up to us on how overwhelmed we want to get on the process. And I feel like it doesn't have to be that way. It's actually as simple as they say it is, and you can make it as complicated as you want it to be. But it definitely comes down to a lot of the team, a lot of who's involved, and a lot of trust and confidence, and just, people wanting to be a part of it. So that's what I'm doing right now. Definitely more to come. Thank you for watching. So thank you for watching me and these clips from these awesome people. So I'll include the names of everyone included in these clips and the videos that they're in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. So I did want to leave you with this clip. It's from a director, Taika Waititi, who recently, this is 7 years before he landed his Marvel Cinematic Universe directing gig, which I think is extra awesome, because of course that's my big dream. And yeah, I definitely vibe with his look and his idea of success.
My idea of success is not money. It's not, it's not getting a lot of money. I think if that's your idea of success, then that's great. But it's, I think it's not really why we're here. I think we're here to communicate and to share ideas and stuff, and I think that is successful. Back home in New Zealand, we have this saying, tēnā koe. Okay, it's a Māori saying, tēnā koe, that's how you say hello. And what it literally means is, there you are. Okay, if you're saying it to a group of people, tēnā koutou, there you guys are. Okay, so the fact that we're here, that we're even on Earth in the first place, I think that's success in itself. So congratulations everyone on being here, and I wish you all the best in your creative lives, and on that note, cheers, kia ora, kia ora, kia ora.